I can wash myself. Everything in the environment is interactive. And then suddenly, I have a totally different story. I can escape unnoticed. Now you can easily imagine the consequences for the player in the story.
Sir.
The waitress. She noticed something. I'm done for.
I can run, I can talk. I just have to run.
Hey, sir, your bill.
I would have paid my bill. I would have left this place totally unnoticed. And the game, Fahrenheit, goes on and on like this. So that's very rapid an example of how you can create a story with totally different mechanics than that we usually use in games. The player is in total control of the character all the time. You don't have long dialogues, it's not boring, and basically, your actions have consequences on the story. You really play the story. You're at the same time the lead character, the director, and the scriptwriter. So this is something very interesting we believe is at the core of what games in the future should be if they want to be serious about strong stories. Now, what is very important for us in the games industry is how to create emotions today. Because we clearly see that we're no longer capable of attracting large audiences to our medium that is essentially, up until now, very technology-driven and not so much targeted at a wide audience. Now, strong story is obviously something very important, but another very important point is believable characterization. Because believable characterization creates empathy, identification, the emotional involvement of the player, and his capacity to share characters' emotions, and through this, really experience emotion. We also are using now at Quantic new technologies to create virtual actors as a vehicle for this emotion. We use technologies and art direction to recreate believable characters. Now, obviously, especially on next generation consoles, the graphics power is enabling us to create, from an aesthetic standpoint, very, very accurate characters. You almost don't see the difference between a real actor and a virtual actor in real-time 3D. Now, I would like to show you a very short demo. It's a technological demo that we did last year for Sony Computer Entertainment. I know it's difficult for people that are not from the games business to understand this, but what I'm going to show you is not a video. It's real-time 3D. It's of the graphics quality that players are going to be able to experience in our future games. It's a quality of the characters that the player is going to be able to control. It has nothing to do with CG animation that you see in movies like Cars or whatever. This is really real-time 3D. And it's an experience for us to understand. We wanted to understand basically how far we could go in creating believable characters and portraying the real performance on an actor on a real-time 3D character. Can put it louder.
Go ahead, take a seat. Can you give me your name and your age, please?
My name is Mary Smith. I'm 24.
Have you ever taken any acting lessons, Mary?
Not really. I couldn't afford it, but I watch a lot of films and I learned so much by watching them.
Have you shot anything recently?
I've had a few bit parts, little things here and there, nothing very serious for the moment. I'm always too tall, too short, wrong hair. There's always something wrong with me.
Okay, have you learned your lines?
Yes.
Let's get started. Mark it, please.
Casting Heavy Rain, actress Mary Smith, take one.
And action.
The first time I saw you, I knew you were the one. I thought these things only happened in the movies, you know? Pounding heart, the sweaty hands, and the shaky legs. I was coming out of the theater, and it started pouring heavy rain, so there I was, soaking wet, teeth chattering, freezing cold, and then you came up to me. You looked at me straight in the eyes, and you said, "Need an umbrella, miss?" You sent me flowers for weeks, and you said you'd love me forever. 3 months later, we were getting married. God, it sounds so stupid. It's such a corny romance. But real life, it never ends up being what you think it's going to be. You think it's going to be one big happy fairy tale. And then one day you wake up in an average little house, leading an average little life, and your real dreams are about paying the bills and maybe someday getting a bigger TV. And you realize that maybe that wasn't the life you were dreaming of. You realize maybe things could have been different. And maybe I actually could have lived with all of that, but then one day it all just stops. Starts with something small. A little lipstick on a collar. A few nights when you come home a bit late. At first I tell myself that I'm crazy, that you would never do such a thing. But just to ease my mind, one night I follow you as you leave the office. I follow you to the seedy hotel where you meet the girl. And then my whole world falls apart. I come home and I cry for hours in my kitchen. I get the gun from the drawer in the bedroom, and I tell myself that if this is all that life has to offer me, then I can do without. But then I change my mind. After all, I'm not the one who's cheating. So, quietly, I wait for you to come home, sitting in my average little kitchen. Obviously, when you get home, you don't suspect a thing, so I press the fucking gun against your forehead and I take a few seconds to watch the fear grow in your eyes. You tell yourself, she won't do it, she doesn't have the guts, she's just trying to teach me a lesson. But you are so wrong, honey. I sentence you to death for turning my life into a soap opera cliche, for stepping on my dreams, for not giving a shit about me all those years, and for lying to me and betraying me and humiliating me. I'm making an example out of you for all the assholes out